Niue is again being modelled as receiving another bad reflection of decisions made by the New Zealand government. But the question is, does anyone on the island care or have a choice? The latest controversial outburst by Labour MP Marianne Street, accusing Foreign Affairs Minister Murray McCully of cronyism or giving special treatment to friends or colleagues, has been raised with the appointment of New Zealand High Commissioner to Niue, His Excellency Mark Plumsky. She is also accusing Minister McCully of bullying tactics in the Pacific Islands. With the latest remarks, many businesses on the island are quietly applauding the leadership of another businessman that might change the direction of development and are not fazed. Today we caught up with the recipient of the debates in New Zealand's House of Assembly, His Excellency Mark Plumsky, for a response to the much discussed issue.
It's part of the game of politics. The opposition try and catch the government out and they sort of bag them and they have a go at them. And I think we've got caught up in that a little bit. It's part of the game of politics. It's one of the reasons why I got out, I have to say. I think I learnt when I was the Mayor of Wellington, you don't take things personally. You can't. You can't please everyone all of the time, so you've got to understand that. But they've been saying that my appointment as cronyism is because I'm a friend of Murray's. I actually believe my appointment is because I can do the job that's required here in Niue to make Niue a fantastic place, a better place. And so I suppose my answer to all of those in the opposition in New Zealand that are going on that he only got the job because he's a mate of the minister's, watch this space. We'll prove them wrong by really trying hard to do a fantastic job here as High Commissioner so that they eat their words. That's how you answer the comments by the opposition in New Zealand.
Do you think that part of your being appointed is from, like, you've been a businessman, you come up in the ranks since you were 17 at Hannah's, and do you think that will work here anyway? Do you think you will have an approach that perhaps head that direction to get us up and some of the smaller businesses here?
I think some of in the opposition party in government, in New Zealand Parliament, forget that I was only a member of Parliament for 3 years. I've had a long career in retail and management and mayoralty and local government and business development and tourism. My whole career has been tied up in that more than a little bit of politics. So I reckon it's my complete package of things that I've done over the years that actually adds to why I think I can do a good job here. I hope I can do a good job here and work with the government and the people of Niue to make Niue a fantastic place to visit.
Now, a couple of things that came up since this story came out is the fact that now you are one of the trustees in the NZ8 Trust. You've also become the president or the new president of the golf club. Do you find any conflict of interest in any of those?
As you may not know, I've taken to Niue very strongly. I will be representing New Zealand's interests. That's my job. But Niue is becoming my home as well. And I believe the more I can give to the community, the more I can partake in the community, the more I can assist various parts of the community. The golf club is part of that. I think I can help the golf club, add value to the golf club and help it into a nice little wee organisation. There's some neat people there. I think the fact that I'm on the board of the trust to help the development makes sense. I'm the New Zealand High Com here. It's New Zealand money that's doing it. I'm hugely intimate with what is happening on the island. So it makes just real sense. I'm a businessman. It makes sense for me to be on the trust. So I have no doubt, no issue with that. Again, I think it's just the opposition playing the game of politics.
Well, certainly the business people, or some of the business people here, have applauded the appointment of you being a businessman to lead Niue in some of the developments. From that part, from the private sector point of view, will much of the NZ8 funds go into the private sector?
It will filter through into the private sector. The money that we're spending, for example, we're about to spend over the next year about $10 million of New Zealand money is going to come into Niue to the Matavai, village accommodation, the tourism centre, the sea tracks. A lot of that money will be spent with local people, local business people, private sector, labourers, shops, restaurants. There are people coming onto the island. There's a whole lot already on the island doing work, renting houses. I mean, all of that money goes into Niuean pockets. That has to be good for the island.
That is His Excellency, New Zealand High Commissioner Mark Blumsky. The continuing saga with a Niuean stamp that caused outrage from some critics should not be such an issue, according to Honourable Premier Toke Talangi.
I'm pleased about the publicity. I hope that a lot of people buy the stamps. The stamps will get some royalties from. I'm pleased also that we're able to commemorate His Royal Highness's wedding with Kate Middleton in this manner. I don't believe that a perforated stamp is going to dictate what happens to the future of this young couple, and therefore all the stories that suggest that the stamp is going to dictate whether the wedding is going to last or the marriage is going to last or not is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. It's bordering on some people, in fact, if you like, lunacy on their part. I wish the royal couple all the best and long marriage.
Now, one of the other issues that came up is the fact that Kate Middleton is worth less than Prince William, $2.40, whereas his side is $3.40. Did Niue have any input into the decision to have the two stamps at separate costs?
I don't know why people I think it's unlikely that people are going to split the stamps, so therefore the stamps are going to have the value, face value as indicated. So I don't believe that there should be any comment on that. I don't believe that in fact it was done so that people see her as being of lesser value. It's nonsensical again. It's bordering on stupidity on some people's part to suggest that those are the things that would dictate what will happen in a marriage. I can't believe the amount of publicity we've had, but also I can't believe the things that have been said. The stamps were approved by the royal family, and they appear to be happy with it. We're happy with it. I'm very pleased about the publicity we're getting from it.
That is Honourable Premier Toke Talangi. Sale of unwholesome goods in stores is raising health concerns. This week, the Public Health Division have been doing spot checks to ensure consumer safety. Warnings have been issued to consumers to be vigilant and to check expiry dates on packaging, and for retailers to ensure expired stock is disposed. What is also apparent is that there may be a need for consumer awareness on what the terms such as expiry date, use by date, and best before dates actually mean. According to the Public Health Division, expiration dates refer to the last date a food should be eaten or used if consumed. It is at your own risk. Goods that have use by date written on the packaging must not be eaten after the specified date. These goods usually go bad quickly. Best before dates entails that food is still safe to eat after the date as long as they are not damaged, deteriorated, or perished. As for goods that do not have dates on the lids, which include canned food such as corned beef, spaghetti, and others, have a longer shelf life. Swanson's Limited, one of the main retailers on the island, says that this week's spot check come quite timely as they conduct stock take, and most of the goods they have on special are best before date goods. This is a matter they will need to work with staff to ensure their stock is rotated accordingly to avoid expired goods on the shelves or being sold to customers. But on top of that, delays to shipment also add to the problem. But hopefully, over the next few months, the issue can be resolved. Spot checks this week have also found that there are some stores in Alofi that are displaying and selling expired goods. Warnings have been served to these stores to remove and dispose of these goods to comply with public health notice. Public Health Division will continue with their random spot checks and are urging consumers to be wary of what they buy and, if in doubt, to return the goods to the retailer for refund. Another concern is expired goods in bingos and raffles, something that will also require public cooperation to resolve. A former political veteran on the island predicting little change in the island's 20-person assembly when the island goes to the polls on May 7th. Niue's new High Commissioner to New Zealand, Olaf Jacobson, was a cabinet minister until a few weeks ago when she replaced Cecilia Talangi in Wellington. She said she's not expecting too many changes among the 14 constituency or village seats and the 6 common role seats. She said the only movements that you will always anticipate to see is on the 6 common role seats, whereas village seats, they're usually stable. Parliament is due to dissolve tomorrow. To end our news bulletin for tonight, careless acts by vandals in the early hours of Thursday morning last week has prompted landlords of the commercial centre to take swift action, prohibiting public entry to the area from 10 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning. Sources at the New Development Bank said the attempted break-in to the Ali store is not the first time this has occurred, and as landlords, the New Development Bank has a duty to its tenants' house within the commercial centre to ensure the security and safety of businesses. The matter has been reported to the police department, who will now be monitoring and patrolling the grounds, saying that any unwarranted entry to the car park area or commercial centre grounds will be liable for trespass. This has posed questions by members of the public whether the area is a public area, and if so, entry should be allowed to the public regardless of hours. The New Development Bank says that the actions taken are not to deny the public access, but target those who are found damaging property or suspiciously loitering around the premises. They are calling for public caution and common sense when using the area to avoid a repeat of such incidents. That's our news bulletin for this evening. Good night.